Welcome back to all our friends, family, and yes, even our foes. To the Foxx Den Sports Podcast, where Todd and his sports-passionate kids are ready to bring you the latest updates and insights on all things sports. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Foxx Den Sports Podcast, where passions run wild, takes run hotter, and the skulk rolls deep. I am your host, the Podfather, also known as Todd Foxx, along with my oldest son, Kellen, the Field General of fiery takes, calling audibles and slinging truth bombs and marching the crew downfield like a 2-minute drill. And, of course, it's the Den's enforcer, Banche McDonald. You know him. You love him, and if you're on the opposing side, you're going to fear him. Trust me. Don't be on his opposing side. He's rattling cages and dropping bombs only like he can. So this is a home for fearless debates, savage breakdowns, and all-out sports warfare. And once again, folks, this is not just a podcast. Oh, no. It's a movement. So join the Foxx Den Sports Podcast, and we'll get moving. All right, folks. We are going to cover today for this podcast the AFC North and the NFC North. We're going to cover a lot of solid information here coming up for this the next 30 minutes or so. I want to get in here into it real quick and just talk about the NFC or the AFC North. I'm going to talk a little bit, and then Kellen will go over his team, and then I'll go. No, yeah, I don't know how it goes. No, I go first. That's right. Whatever. I go first. So regardless, we're going to talk about strength of schedule, the AFC. So Baltimore Ravens have like the 9th hardest schedule this season. Cleveland has the 2nd hardest, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because the way the NFL does it is first place teams get first place schedules, meaning meaning harder schedules. They play other first place teams from the previous year generally, if they're playing that division. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati both have easier schedules. Cincinnati has has the easiest in the NFC North. So basically, the Ravens are playing. I'm not going to go over every single team, but it looks like to me the North is playing the North this year. AFC and NFC both are each playing each other. So you got somebody like a Cleveland who's playing. Let's see here, the Raiders. They're tough. I mean, I'm not saying the Raiders are tough, but they got the Raiders on the road. But I want to talk about Cincinnati. That's who I was going to look at. So Cincinnati has Arizona at home, Jacksonville at home, Jets at home, New England at home. New England hasn't been really that good. We'll go over them in the next podcast. So do you see what I'm saying? So there's, regardless of the way these schedules look, it's going to be some of them are going to have an easier schedule, and that's how it is. That's unfortunate for the teams that are better. Like I can't believe Cleveland got a harder schedule. So, but moving on from there, Gannon was going to be doing the Cleveland Browns, and I'll talk about the Cleveland Browns right now. Some of the top storylines. So they, after finishing 3-14, they're looking for a major turnaround, right? So they've got a massive quarterback competition going on. When you got Flacco, you got Kenny Pickett, you got Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Most likely it's going to be Flacco at least early. And then at that point, I don't know. My guess would be maybe Shedeur. I don't know. Dylan Gabriel is evidently having a tough camp, which is unfortunate because I like the kid. I think he's a great college quarterback, but I just don't think the pros may be his fit for a starting job. I think he could be a second, third stringer for sure. And then Kenny Pickett, little hands Kenny, I know he's hurt currently. So most likely it'll be Flacco and go from there. But Kevin Stefanski starts his 6th season. And they also have Tommy Rees. He was promoted last year after some shakeups are going on as the offensive coordinator. From a draft point, standout or draft point, whatever I'm trying to say. They drafted a defensive tackle from Michigan named Mason Graham in round 1, but then that's where you start looking through. In the round 3, they did take Dylan Gabriel, and then later on they took Shedeur. So I just don't think maybe with Shedeur Sanders, some teams wanted to even mess with that. because with him brings a lot of conversation, a lot of talk about things that maybe not need to be talked about. What I mean by that is, why talk about the backup quarterback that much? And that's what kind of like Tim Tebow is always being talked about. And I think a lot of teams just shied away from that and stayed away. They did lose Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb signed with the Houston Texans. They did sign Malik Collins, the defensive tackle, and some other players. But Shadur Sanders, I know he's going to start, I believe, the first preseason game. From what it sounds like, he's going to play, and then you'll see some of these other guys play as well throughout the preseason. So we'll see there. From an outlook standpoint, no really formal win forecast for this team. I don't know what to tell you. I'd have to look at it. They may win 5 ball games. That's not a very good team either. And Stefanski, not going to lie, I did like him at the very beginning, and I'm not saying I can't stand him, but the problem is with Stefanski is he didn't like Baker Mayfield, and that kind of made me mad because Baker's a good quarterback if you just give him some people around him and you coach him. And Stefanski gave up on him too early, and then they tried to get Deshaun Watson, who's been a massive, massive mistake. This is a team that always this organization continually makes mistake after mistake after mistake, and they did one there. I think Baker should have stuck around, or they should have let Baker stick around and be there, but they did not. So I'm not happy with the Cleveland Browns. I've always rooted for the Cleveland Browns. They're definitely in my top 10 teams just because they've stunk for so many years. However, don't think they're that great. Kellen, who do you got?
I got Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, always a relevant team, always good. Haven't been great in a while, but hopefully they're on the way back up. They got a complete defensive overhaul with their new defensive coordinator, Al Golden, out of Notre Dame. Last season, they ranked near the bottom in points, touchdowns, and first downs allowed. So hopefully he can come and kind of just get something rolling, because their offense is always rolling, but the defense just can't keep up. They also got Scott Peters as their new O-line coach. He was in New England last year. He's a former offensive lineman. So I think the offensive line is something that's always been discussed, especially since Burrow's been there. They've improved since his rookie season, but still, that man's always under a lot of pressure. Draft, not anything, no big names, but they just got a lot of defensive depth. They focused mainly on defense. They brought back Samaje Perine as a backup running back for Chase Brown. So that'll be a familiar face. They got Noah Fant for a tight end. They also extended Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So I really think this could be a big year. I know Bengals always seem to start out slow the first 2, 3, 4 weeks. I know this because I always have Joe Burrow in fantasy, and he stinks for those 4 weeks and then gets rolling. But I think their offense is always good, always relevant, and Jamar Chase is always towards the top in all receiving stats, if not the top. So I think if Al Golden can really get the defense rolling, they don't got to do anything special. They just got to keep up slightly with that offense. That offense can carry them, especially seeing as they have the easiest schedule in the AFC North. So I think they will be doing pretty well. They're in a decent division, so I mean they're a playoff team for sure. I could see them getting 10, maybe 11 wins, but 10 probably, wild card potentially, depending on how like the Ravens and all of them do. But I think it'll be a big year for Joe Burrow.
Yeah, he's just got to stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, I think Cincinnati's got a great shot. Like their coach, he's an Oklahoma boy. Played at Nebraska, but he was in Norman. I think he went to high school in Norman, if I'm not mistaken. So, Clay, you got anything to talk about Cincinnati, or are you going to head on to the Ravens?
I'll go on to the Ravens, but it'll include Cincinnati in that. I mean, it's pretty crazy that the Ravens' number one off-season concern is the kicker.
Yeah.
And Justin Tucker, he's incredible. All-pro. I don't know if he'll make the Hall of Fame after the last offseason, but he was heading that direction.
Yeah.
So my point is there's really not much to talk about Baltimore. It's just you either do this or you don't, and it's pretty easy. I mean, when your biggest off-season storyline is your kicker, kickers are probably one of the easiest replaceable. I'm not saying Tucker's not incredible, but they do have a rookie in there, so we'll see how that goes. But they can change those people out in and out. They added they had some really good a lot of draft picks. So they added some people, especially on the defensive side. Didn't really lose a whole lot. I mean, Derrick Henry was a massive surprise to me on how well he did, because I thought he was a little bit on the tail end of his career in Tennessee, but it obviously shows that Tennessee was just that bad. But it's just time. Lamar, he's going to step up and take them. And it's I just overall, and talk about Cincinnati, I mean, it's the same four teams in the AFC: Cincinnati, Buffalo, Kansas City, and Baltimore. Which was going to survive out of those four is going to be the AFC champs, and Baltimore's obviously right there with them. And Lamar was MVP candidate with Josh Allen all year long until it just came down to a vote. So he's obviously an incredible quarterback. They lost a couple of games early that they probably should have. Remember when that Isaiah Likely caught the ball and his toenail was on the end line, and and then they overthrew him. I mean, just little things like that cost you, but they still went, I think, 12-5, something like that. So they were still pretty incredible season. But it's just, there's not much to talk about except just you got to get it done.
Yeah, they're a really good football team, and Lamar's incredible. Will this be the year that they get over the hump? Will this be the year that either them or, somebody like a Buffalo can get over the hump? Because it's been Kansas City, and, had that 1 year of Burrow, but it's been Kansas City for the last several years. And that's my biggest question. And as far as Tucker is concerned, I mean, that's pretty ridiculous. I mean, as far as that's the big storyline for those guys, but that's what folks were talking about. And he's probably one of the top 5 kickers in the NFL in the history. And what's going to stink is a lot of people, unfortunately, will probably remember him for this kind of actions, unfortunately. Kellen, you got anything about the Baltimore Ravens? Mike, one question for you guys. Like Mark Andrews, he kind of seemed like he had a down year. Not as good. I know he was hurt a little bit, but we need to see a little bit of bounce back from the OU.
Yeah, there's a little injuries was a little bit of play, but also I think it's the emergence of Isaiah Likely.
True.
And so you got two, I mean, most people would love to just have one of them, and they got both of them. So I think that probably had a little bit to do with his. And then, the running game just took it over, and with Derrick Henry doing like he did, and so just didn't need him as much. But I know it's realistic to say a bounce back. I think the stats will probably be close to the same, just because they had the same offense.
Sure. Anything, Kel?
I think they'll be good. I mean, you guys hit it all the points, but Lamar is one of the best in the NFL, so maybe this could finally be his year to do something. But I mean, the AFC is just stacked right now, so once playoff time comes, it's no easy path to the Super Bowl. So we will see.
AFC is like the Western Conference in the NBA, where seems like all the good teams, really good teams, that have a real solid shot. Now, granted, Philadelphia did win the Super Bowl last year, but we'll get to all that.
They have more teams.
Yeah, Philadelphia is a little bit cut above a lot of other teams, in my opinion, in the NFC. But we'll talk about that later. I'm going to go on to the Pittsburgh Steelers, where Mike Tomlin enters his 19th season, which is completely amazing. The fact that he's coaching this is his 19th season, and Chuck Noll was there for a long time, and then you had Bill Cowher as well. Like, they've had 3 head coaches in my lifetime. I'm 56 years old. I know I look only like 35, but I am 56 years old. And no, I don't. The camera adds age to you. But regardless, it's just, he's always had a system. He's never had a losing season ever. And I thought last year was going to be it, and he still didn't have it. It's just amazing. But this year, with the arrival of Aaron Rodgers, what is the biggest storyline? And the thing is which Aaron Rodgers is going to show up? Now, granted, he's older, Okay, so he's not going to be able to do some things that he's done in the past. However, if he's focused and he really wants to play football, which I think he is, and I know he wants to play, but you know what I mean? Like, if he's really on, this team's got a shot at probably 10, 11 games to win. If he's not, probably more of a 7-8 win. But I say that with knowing the fact that this guy's never had a losing season. Doesn't mean that it won't ever happen. But Aaron Rodgers' arrival is huge for this team. They've got Mason Rudolph and Will Howard as the backups. And then you're looking at, they added some weapons. I know, what is it? Jonnu, is that how you say his name? Jonnu Smith.
Mm-hmm.
DK Metcalf is there, which I think is fantastic. They got rid of, what is his name? Pickens. George Pickens went to Dallas. Got rid of, a locker room issue. And then Robert Woods is there as well. And then they also got cornerback Jalen Ramsey, which Ramsey's been on a lot of teams. Didn't he start out with the Jaguars and then Rams and then Miami and now Pittsburgh? It's like, he's really good, but man, he's been on a lot of teams. It's just weird from my thoughts. But regardless, they got a defensive tackle in round 1 from Oregon named Derek Harmon. Got a running back in round 3, Caleb Johnson. Here's the thing. They've got to make sure this line, they've had a bad line the last several years. You look back on it, and they had a chance years ago to draft a Creed Humphrey. How much would they love to have Creed Humphrey right now? He's the best center in football. But I think that's when they picked Najee Harris, who's not even with the team anymore. Oh, good old Naj. So regardless, it's a team where it's going to be interesting to see how they do. I'm excited to see it, to be honest with you, because I like Aaron Rodgers. I want him to do well. I think, in my opinion, I think it's Baltimore's division to lose, and probably between Cincinnati and Pittsburgh on the second place, depending on who plays better. And Cincinnati's got an easier schedule, so that's going to help out with Cincinnati as long as if Burrow stays healthy. And then you've got Aaron Rodgers. So I don't know what your guys' thoughts are with the Steelers. What do you got?
I think they'll be cheeks. I think this will be his first losing season. I think Aaron Rodgers, excellent quarterback, excellent career, but he should have hung it up last year. He had a bad year, and I don't see it getting much better.
It's gonna be cheeks.
I see 4 losses, to the Ravens and the Bills.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Aaron Rodgers' success this year. I think everything you said, the offensive line being suspect, Najee Harris is probably on his way downhill slide. But so if they can't get a running game going, Aaron Rodgers just didn't have enough to take him to the promised land. So I suspect the same season as last year, maybe 8-9 wins, right at that, deciding if you're going to be winning record or losing record, but I see him missing the playoffs again.
Fantastic. All right. So now we are going to slide over to the NFC North, where the Detroit Lions and Chicago Bears both basically have a tie at having a hard schedule. Then you got Green Bay, and then Minnesota's got the easier schedule, which none of this makes any sense because Minnesota was really good last year and Chicago did not make the playoffs. But it's very interesting how that transpires. I know Detroit, let's just look through here. I know they're playing, they've got, let's see here. They got the Rams. They're going to the Rams. They're playing at the Commanders, obviously. And what is this here? That's basically what I'm looking at there. But regardless, it's going to be interesting. And it all comes down to the schedules and how things are going to happen and who's going to take advantage of that. Because you get a first place schedule thing, you're generally going to have a harder schedule. Some of these guys doesn't look like they are, so we'll see. All right, Chicago Bears. Some storylines like what in the first off, the biggest storyline is the new head coach, Ben Johnson, taking over. He was the offensive coordinator for the last several years for Detroit, helped lead that team to a lot of success. And then he made Jared Goff look good, which I'm not busting his chops, but it's just he made him look really good, and I'm anxious to see what he can do with Caleb Williams. Fans, hope his offensive expertise will turn this team around. Obviously, we'll see. It's just not as great of an organization, the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears, another one is Caleb Williams. I mean, he's been inconsistent so far in the NFL. which raised some questions about his confidence and if he's really been ready. I think he is. I think he'll hopefully be good here. But the thing, from what I'm hearing, and I saw there's a video out there, I guess, of him getting real frustrated and can't even hit he's throwing at a target, basically, is what it was. And he was getting frustrated and yelling. And that's somebody that seems like to me has maybe some mental issues going on. I don't know. We'll see. But he's pretty upset. This team has got to be better. Offensive line, I think that's one thing they worked on, is to get this thing fortified to help protect, because you got to protect Caleb Williams. So some people, some analysts think this team is a dark horse for a contender in the division. I don't know if they're there yet. I think they're still a couple of years away, personally, but we'll see. I know they signed Michigan tight end Colston Loveland he was the first round pick for this team, and they got a wide receiver, Luther Burden, from Missouri. We'll see how that all works out for these guys. I'm not sure. And then also, just looking through here, let's see. Yeah, Cole. They've got a Cole. What is it? How do you say his last name? Komet. He's often injured. That's an issue there for him as well. How's this team going to be? I don't know. I mean, it's one of the better divisions in football. You got Detroit, you got Green Bay, Minnesota, which we'll talk about all this later. But I think Minnesota may come down a little bit. I'll be honest with you, I think Detroit may come down just a hair. It'll be interesting to see how that works. Green Bay, I don't know. We'll talk about them here shortly. But anyway, what do you guys have? Anything to add about Chicago?
I thought it was interesting. Ben Johnson said he wanted Caleb Williams to throw for 70% passing completion this year. And I was like, you better throw a lot of screens and 1 yard passes.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what that offense is going to look like.
Yeah, because Keenan Allen signed back with the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be very interesting. All right, Kellen, who do you got? Detroit?
Yeah, we got Detroit Lions. Obviously, they're going to have a difficult schedule. They had a really hot season last year. Really didn't do any big name additions. They added some depth to their team, which was already well-rounded, and we saw that being key last year. They had so many injuries, but the next man up just kept working for them. I just think the biggest thing is going to be they had a big turnover on coaching. Obviously, they lost offensive coordinator Ben Johnson and defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn. Both went on to hopefully better places for them. So they got John Morton as offensive coordinator, and they promoted from within Kelvin Shepard as the defensive coordinator. So I'm just interested to see, can these coaches keep that momentum going? Because they've been hot the last couple of years and have gone nowhere but up. I don't know, I'm not fully sold on Jared Goff. I think he's kind of a system quarterback, and he's been playing in a system that works for him and looks real good, but depending on how John Morton does with him, I don't know what that's going to look like for him. Obviously, they got a well-rounded team, incredible running game, so we'll see. But I personally would not be surprised if they dip just slightly from last season.
I agree. I think with the change in the coordinators is just going to take them a little bit to get rolling. Obviously, really good with Gibbs and Amon St. Brown. I mean, some outstanding players, but it's going to take them a little bit to get going.
I like this team. I hope they do well. Like I said a minute ago, I keep expecting them to come down a little bit, and I hope not. But when you do lose coordinators like that at the same time, it's going to take a bit, like Clay just said, to everybody try to gel. They didn't look good in the preseason game, the Hall of Fame game, but again, that's just preseason, and I get that, and starters aren't playing and things like that. But however, I just don't think you can put such an emphasis on losing two solid coordinators like those fellas, and we'll see. I hope this team does well. I hope this team wins this division. That's who I'm rooting for. I like the Detroit, and we'll talk about it on records at some point. I think that 10 wins is probably doable. I'd like to see them with more. Who's next?
Got a little Vikings action?
Yep.
All righty. So obviously the biggest storyline with the Vikings is losing Sam Darnold, gone to Seattle, right? And then J.J. McCarthy's coming in as a starter. I think he was projected to be the starter last year until he got hurt in the preseason. So he has another, as bad as it is with an injury, he did have a year to sit and watch, but they always say that that's really important for those rookies, even though he didn't get to play any. So that'll be interesting to see how he comes along. I wasn't real excited for the Vikings to draft him and like, wow, you got this guy as your 10th overall pick, but they really like him. And but with that, they kept Aaron Jones, so that was a good thing for the running back. They brought in a couple of linemen on their offensive line, make their offensive line better. I mean, and then when you got Jordan Jefferson, who's probably the best receiver in the NFL, I think T.J. Hawkinson, tight end's good. I think I read Jordan Addison got suspended for the first 3 games for substance abuse, so that's going to take him a little bit to get going, so that hurts. I see them probably, just depends on how J.J. McCarthy, it's going to be solely based off of how he comes along, but
right.
I see them making another push for because they ended kind of disappointingly last year, kind of like the Lions, so I see them making a push for the NFC crown this year.
Do you really? Wow. That is interesting. Okay. I'm not sold on him. I love Kevin O'Connell. I keep hearing that McCarthy is struggling in camp. And it makes me think they're probably wishing they kept Darnold. And there was also talk, they were saying, they were talking about Aaron Rodgers maybe going there at the, during the offseason. That's because it was going to be interesting to see if him and Favre did the exact same thing, Jets, and then
yeah.
But regardless, I do like this team. I've always liked Minnesota. Back in the Fran Tarkenton, Ahmad Rashad, Sammy White days, Chuck Foreman, Bud Grant, all those guys, Purple People Eaters. Let me just keep on naming them. Alan Page. Anyway, no, but I mean, I do like this team. I want them to do well. I just think they're going to take a massive setback this season, unfortunately. And again, but to Clay's point, if McCarthy's good, this team's probably going to be good. They got the best. He's probably the best receiver in football. Don't you think? I mean, I know it's between him and you got just Jefferson, Chase, or CeeDee Lamb. There's some good ones, but if he has somebody has somebody throwing him the ball, I think he's probably the best receiver in the game. Kellen, you got anything?
I mean, I think I could see them taking a slight dip potentially because of McCarthy, but I think that we talked about this a few weeks ago. I think this is going to be better for them in the long run because you don't want Sam Darnold there for another year or two and then move on and take a big old dip. And by that point, you might lose Justin Jefferson because that dude wants to go in. So the faster you can get him and JJ going together, like I think if they really start meshing quick, I think it could be big, and it'll be big for them retaining Justin Jefferson later in his career. So I think it could be good for him. And if he does well, he's got enough weapons that, I mean, and I could see them doing pretty well this season as well.
Agree. All right, so we're going to move on to the Green Bay Packers. And the thing is that you've got Matt LaFleur, who's now entering his 7th season. That's just amazing to even think about. Top storylines for this team. One of them is a secondary overhaul. They had to overhaul the secondary, obviously. Cornerback Jair Alexander, he departed, which they had to get some younger players in there. I know they did draft a cornerback, Micah, Robinson, I think? Yeah, Micah Robinson from Tulane. They've also got Xavier McKinney, all-pro safety. He's going to miss some. He's missing some time right now in camp with a calf injury. They think he'll be ready for week 1, but you know how those lingering injuries happen. And I know offensive line stability has been in question, which they can't really afford to have that happen for the Packers. I know they, Josh Myers, free agent, things like that. But regardless, I think the big storyline would be Jordan Love and how he comes around. I know his first season of starting, the first couple of games, honestly, the first probably 6 games were rough, and then he tore it up. And then last year, I don't think he progressed very well. And I think that it all depends on him. And if he can do well, I think this team's going to possibly win this division. But if he doesn't, they're going to have a hard time. But I know they've got the wide receiving core is what's interesting because they signed Matthew Golden, a first-round draft pick out of Texas, and he's pushing right now to probably be a starter, which is pretty impressive. for a rookie. And then Green Bay's always been one of these teams since the Favre era anyway, to throw the ball to the receivers and get the receivers the football. And I think he'll be definitely somebody that they can lean on. And I'm excited. I'm not going to lie. I'm not excited about a Texas receiver, but I do like to see new names and new players that come in, and I'll be happy to see whatever Matthew Golden can bring this team. Christian, what is it Watson? Yeah, Christian Watson remains sideline early as well in camp, so we'll see how that goes. And then Jaden Reed, another receiver firmly entrenched and likely to be the main receiver that Love goes to, but we'll see how this Matthew Golden turns out. And I love Josh Jacobs, man. I hated to see him leave the Raiders, but now that he's been with the Packers now. This is, I believe, his second year there. But then, of course, the Raiders got Genty, so they're good at running back right now. But I think he's a really good running back, and I think he also holds a big key in this team's success. What are your all thoughts on the Green Bay Packers?
I think you hit it pretty good. I mean, it's
Thanks.
going to go back to you're welcome, Jordan Love and his progression. Not super excited about their receivers. I mean, they're right there, just kind of whatever. But and it's just it's by far to me the hardest division in football, so because really all four of those teams, if things go one way or the other, all four of them could win the division next year, or this upcoming season, I should say. So that makes it tough, and so I think a lot of it's going to depend on injuries for all those teams.
I agree 100%. Anything else regarding the NFC or AFC North? Anything you're looking forward to? Not really. I'm just looking forward to football. That's all I can tell you. And I believe it is it 3 weeks or 4 weeks from today? Is it 4? Yeah, I think it's 4 weeks from today's NFL kicks off. Cannot wait. All right, before we stop, I'm going to go over one of the Keep 4, Cut 4. These are all-time sitcoms, all right? Sitcoms. So you're going to pick 4 keep and 4 cut. The problem is I can't remember. What's that?
Kellen doesn't even know what a sitcom is.
You know what a sitcom is?
It's stuff before streaming, Kellen.
It's a 30-minute funny TV show on TV.
I'll put a little to this guy. My life is a sitcom, man.
That's true. Mine is too. Trust me.
I'm just a cartoon strip.
Here we go. Your first one. Modern Family.
Keep.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Is that 911, you mean?
911, whatever. 9, yeah. I got no idea. I've never seen it.
I
think it's 9-9, isn't it? With Andy Samberg?
That's what I thought.
Oh. Yeah, okay. Either way, I'm cut.
Cut either way.
It doesn't matter. All right, let's take that one out. Happy Days.
Cut.
It was good. Parks and Recreation.
Cut.
Kellen, have you cut everything? I know Clay's taking that one.
Oh, buddy.
Wait, are we actually cutting Brooklyn Nine-Nine or no?
Yeah.
Okay, then cut.
All right, yeah.
Keep cheers.
I guess I'm keeping the next 4. You better throw some freaking bangers.
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Just keep.
There you go, Kellen.
Cut.
Seinfeld.
Keep.
The Office.
Keep.
That's my 4.
Friends.
Oh.
Keep.
Kellen, did you have to cut it, Clay?
I did.
Yeah, my list is perfect. I don't necessarily watch Fresh Prince, but I don't watch any of the other crap I cut. So,
dadgum, Kellen. That's the hot take, man. My goodness.
But I watch Seinfeld, Friends, and Office all the time.
Oh, first off, let me explain to everybody. Seinfeld is the best sitcom for me in the history of sitcoms.
Amen.
I never watched The Office. Can't do all the moving around the camera.
So
I think if I probably watched it, I may like it. I mean, Friends is up there. Friends is probably top 5 for me. I'd have to really, truly think about it, but Seinfeld's the best. That's where I've gotten all my sarcasm from Seinfeld. I just love the Thursday nights back in the day. I would go, that was not every day, not every Thursday, but I just remember there being some Sonics that would have a buy one, get one free, the footlong conies. That's why I go grab some of those. Go to the house, watch a little Seinfeld, then I'd be sick the rest of the night from eating 2 conies. So that was back when I was 20, 22, 23, 24 years old.
22 of them things? There you go.
Yeah. I think I did. I don't know.
2 feet of dogs.
It sounds good. It sounds good, but we'll see.
I'll knock out 2 right now.
Yeah, probably so. You know how the dog loves him some conies. All right, well, that's a wrap for the Foxx Den, where the takes are hot, the vibes are wild, and the skulk runs deep. And whether you're Team Kellen or Team Clay for these keeping 4 and cutting 4, regardless, you know you're part of the pack now. So like our show, share it, trash talk it. We got football season coming up. I cannot wait for the trash talking. It's going to be fun. Missouri fans, you guys are garbage this year. So we're all here for it. So subscribe, stay savage, and never run alone. Run with the Foxx Den. Until next time, stay loud, stay proud, and stay on the hunt. Goodbye, everybody. Boomer.
Thank you for listening to the Foxx Den Sports Podcast. Be sure to subscribe for free to our YouTube channel, Foxx Den Sports. And also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Foxx Den Sports and on Facebook at Foxx Den Sports Podcast. You can also email us at foxdensports@yahoo.com. This has been Foxx Den Sports.